Laramie Project is the story of Matthew Shepard, who was savagely attacked and beaten, tied to a fence and left to die in 1998 by two members of the community, two kids really, who were attending a bar, the Fireside Bar, which is in Wyoming as well. They pretended they were gay, got him into a vehicle, robbed him, beat him, and then tied him to a fence. They left him there to die and took his sneakers.
Laramie Project is a piece that is near and dear to my heart. Being a gay woman, it just hits home. I remember when I heard about everything that happened, it just struck me. Like, it could happen anywhere. So, it's just a very powerful piece, and those kind of pieces just strike me anyway.
I wanted to be involved in the Laramie Project, and it is important to me because I believe in equality, and I believe in justice for all, of course. And besides that, I also am a former Little Wanderer from the Home for Little Wanderers, and I understand what it's like to be an outcast, a misfit, an orphan, and nobody should be bullied.
I wanted to create the experience, the Laramie Project, that I feel internally on stage for a community of people. What I've personally experienced in my life, I want people to experience in the audience. I want them to take away this powerful story with them and make their own judgments and assessments on it.
My son is the same age that Matthew Shepard would have been. As a matter of fact, their birthdays are a day apart. As a mother, I just cannot imagine going through what the Shepards went through, not to mention obviously what Matthew went through. And trying to just comprehend how people can even do something like that. Why did it even matter to these boys that he was gay? It shouldn't. It's just, he was Matthew and they were them, and why can't we just all live together? And if we don't tell the story and we don't keep retelling the story, years and years and years down the road, people are going to forget. And they're not going to become, people just need to get along. And if we don't keep telling it, people are going to forget. And it's as simple as that. People are just going to forget. And it's going to be old news, and they're going to move on to something else and not realize just how wrong that is to, people are people first. They're not their sexual persuasion. They're not their religion. They're not their sex. They're nothing. Either you're a good person or you're a bad person, and that's what you should be judged on.
I think I actually think about this sometimes. I actually think about, what if something ever happened to my daughter? What would I do? Knowing that growing up without parents, and how that would feel if I lost my daughter. Because I feel like that would be like a double-edged sword, and I really feel so badly when I hear about stories about parents losing their kids. My daughter is my hope. I live for her. And so I hope I can be a contributing factor to helping get awareness out of this important project of Laramie.
Well, I think about my son, who's going to be 22, January 1st. And then I think about my brother, who's gay, who lives in San Francisco. And I think about if something like this happened to him. And he lives in San Francisco, so it's kind of okay, but eventually he's going to move somewhere else. And I think, well, if he moves somewhere where they're less tolerant, I don't know, so I think about that.
In 1998, when this happened to Matthew Shepard, I was a sophomore in high school, a gay sophomore in high school. And I was on the journalism and creative writing staff for my school newspaper. And I wrote an article about what happened to Matthew Shepard. And after it was submitted to the school, they responded by telling the advisor that if it was published, they would shut down the newspaper. In response to that, the advisor not only published my article, but published their response to the article on the opposite side that went out through the entire town and the entire community. As a gay man growing up, it was really important to me because there was a level of connectivity with Matthew Shepard. I was the only open gay person in my school, and I wasn't even open at that point. I didn't come out until I was a senior. I didn't come out until I was a senior. So I was connecting with him on the human side, not necessarily on the gay side, but more so on the how could anybody let this happen to anybody else. And ever since then, I've been so connected to this person.
It's an important thing to speak when other people can't speak anymore. And being a trans man, I know that sometimes my voice isn't necessarily heard as much as I want it to be. And so just being a part of a bigger picture is important to me.
I think the fact that people can change through the course of the show, you see a lot of different characters change their perspective on gay people. And I think that's a really hopeful message.